Rajesh, and also to Brother Deva to have shared those pictures. Um, see, it's a very special thought in my mind when I get this opportunity to share with my family, as I always look up to Katong Sai Center. Katong Sai Center has played a very, very important role in my life, and I can never forget that. And today, even before I get started, my mind goes back when we were staying there in Singapore, as Brother Rajesh mentioned, and we were active part of this Katong Sai Center. Uh, I had opportunity to visit other Sai centers and also participate in a lot of activities there, but I was a member of Katong Sai Center. I always believed that there were other centers who sang bhajans much better than us, who did activities much better than us, and maybe to some extent much better organized than us. I always felt at the time. But then, what was the icing on the cake? What took the entire thing in favor of Katong was a extended family. It was always a family. It was a Sai family, and it just welcomed everybody who came to the Sai Center, and they just automatically became part of the family. And within a matter of few days, the term extended also fell off, and it was just one Sai family. There was absolutely no walls or any other thoughts or anything separating one member from the other. And this day, before I start, while I offer my prayers at the lotus feet of Mother Sai, I also convey my deepest Sairam and gratitude to all those senior uncles and aunts, brothers and sisters who made Kato Center what it is. And I'm happy to see that even with the current team which is there, they're continuing the same tradition. And very fact that I am looked upon as one among you and being called to share with you after almost 15, 16 years, that itself shows that this is a wonderful Sai family, and it has always remained so. So, with this few words, uh, let me get started. See, while I was studying there in Swami's Institute as a student, one of my classmates, he got multiple opportunities to speak in front of Swami. And he used to narrate various experiences, various incidents in Swami's immediate presence. The Swami was seated there. I'm talking about in 80s, 1980s. Swami was seated there, and he used to narrate, and Swami used to obviously enjoy what he was narrating. There was one particular experience which he repeated many a times, and Swami insisted that he repeat many a times, which I am going to share with you, to all my young brothers and sisters here. My entire talk, I am going to address focusing on this young brothers and sisters here. So, this experience went something like this. This classmate of mine, when he was studying in his 10th standard, O levels in Indian context, he was doing his 10th standard. He had a younger brother, and they came from a northern part of the country, which was quite far from where Puttaparthi, Prashant Nilayam is, which is in the southern part of the country. And in the good old days, in those days, it used to take 2 nights journey by train. Suppose you get into train today afternoon, from here you will have to spend that day night, next day whole day, next day night, and the day after that, by afternoon or somewhere, you go and reach your town. So that is the kind of distance it is. So yeah, since he was again in India, the crowd you may find in at a railway station or any major junctions will be the almost 50% of the population of Singapore will be there in one major junction of India. So you can imagine it is not easy for young children to just come alone and go alone. So the parents used to always come, drop them and pick them up back from Prashant Nilayam whenever the holidays started. So one particular occasion, what happened? The parents couldn't come to pick up the children, So the parents told them from the hometown that you both come by yourself. Swami will take care. So it was a very major responsibility for my classmate who was hardly a O-level student, and he had to take care of a younger brother who was 2 years younger, and they had to travel like this kind of distance. Now, since it became a last-minute thing, they had not even booked the tickets, and this was pre-internet and pre-online booking days, where buying a ticket you have to go and stand in a queue and months before to book such a long-distance ticket. Anyway, he went and he started from Prashant Nilayam and up to on midpoint. It's a station in Andhra Pradesh which is called as Guntakkal. Those who are familiar with Indian railways will know this is a very major junction in the Indian map on the southern part of India. Guntakkal. So he reached till there. He had company, other students, and from there the country branches out in different directions. It's a huge country. So he found himself alone with his younger brother. And he went and checked for the tickets. The tickets were not available. Then he requested the TT. He said the TT means ticket collector or the ticket issuing clerk there. He just said that, okay, that is another train which passes by this station tomorrow morning. And the challenge is the train doesn't originate and end there. It's a transit point and he has to get down in another transit point. So it's like you get into a train in Kembangan and you're getting down somewhere near, let's say, Raffles Place or somewhere. So you're getting in transit and getting down in transit. So they said there is one more train passing by the station tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock. Maybe you could try. He said, can I buy a ticket? No, I don't think there's any seats available, but maybe try your luck early morning tomorrow. And so these two boys, what else to do? They are left all alone on the platform. They went to the retiring room. They just spread their mat or something on the floor. Both rested for some time. And this guy was already really worried because he had to take care of younger brother. There's no ticket, and he had missed this train which they normally take. The next train, will they get a ticket or not? So in the night, he just uttered a prayer to Swami. He just said, Swami, if my parents were traveling with me, they would have taken care of me and my brother. Now we are traveling with you. You please take care of us. This is the prayer he did, and he just took a rest. Next day morning, 4:30, he got up, freshened himself up, rushed to the ticket counter, dragging his younger brother behind. And there he went, and before he could utter the ticket, the new guy who had come in the morning shift, he said, is your name so-and-so? This boy was stunned. Before he could ask for a ticket, he said yes. Okay, there are 2 tickets which have been reserved in your name. Somebody came and reserved. And take this ticket and run to this platform. The train is due to arrive in another 10 minutes. Get into the train and you can reach your destination. So this boy was stunned. Then, okay, you offered to pay the money. He said, don't worry, it has already been paid for. Carry on, don't delay. So he ran with his brother and luggage, everything, got into the train. They went and reached the destination, everything. And then after reaching there, they realized who could have booked for them in the middle of night in a station where nobody knows them and nobody knows which destination they have to go. But here, there is somebody who has come and not only booked the ticket for both of them, mentioning their name, age, everything, and also to the destination which they have to go, and also paid on their behalf. So this could be nothing and nobody else other than our Swami. And he used to always end by saying that because I pray to Swami, as much as my parents take care of me when we travel with them, you have taken care of us, Swami, because you are traveling with us. And Swami used to enjoy this every time, Swami used to clap and he used to bless him. So this he repeated so many times, it became part of my frame of mind because it was very important. And this forms the theme of the talk. You can talk to Swami anytime, anywhere, any place. Here is an instance of a person who sat and spoke to Swami in the railway station in the middle of the night, and Swami came to his aid immediately. Now, another instance which I want to say is about myself. When I had to join Swami's Institute, we have always been a side devotee. For me, right from my birth, I have prayed only to Swami because even before my birth, Swami was part of our family. So when the moment came for me to join Swami's Institute and when it was proposed to me by my grandfather, I had a problem in my mind. My problem in my mind was, am I fit enough to be a student in SSE instead of higher learning? That was my worry. With my life which I had led until then, even though we're a Sai family, everything, I was thinking, do I fit into the standard which Swami has got for his students? So I was a bit skeptical. I tried to dissuade. My grandfather was very firm. He said, no, no, it's Swami's grace. You will surely get. So I went and wrote exam, entrance exam, everything. And the results were due to be published. In those days, it used to be published on May 30th or something. And those who were selected have to just join into the hostel by June 1st or something. So when I wrote the exam and came back to my hometown. So when the results were due to be announced 30th, my grandfather offered that we both travel to Parki together, see the result, and you can join, because he was so confident I will get. And he was so confident that he even stitched 5 pairs of white trousers and white shirts for me. I, in all my audacity, asked, because I'm a very avid cricketer and I represented my school and I was also part of the district team at the time. So I asked my grandfather, I can use one trouser and shirt for one cricket match. What will I do with 5 pairs of white pairs if I don't get selected there? He said, there is no question of you not get selected, you'll be selected. But I said, no, you go, you see there the thing. If I am selected, let me know, then I come. He said, okay, no problem. He went. And I stayed back waiting for a call from Pati, dreading whether I'm going to be selected or not. The day my grandfather left, next day night, when I was sleeping, I had a beautiful dream of Swami. I was standing under a tree, a huge tree. I was standing there beneath it, and facing me was a big black gate which was closed. And as I was standing facing the big black gate, the gate opened, and hundreds of students just came out wearing white and white, passed me by, and behind them, Swami came beautifully, the only way in which he can walk. If you were to see some of this old YouTube videos or anything, some old bhajan videos, if you get to see in 80s, you will understand. Swami came lovingly there, stood in front of me and said, I have given you admission, come. That's all Swami said, and told, take Padamaskar. I took Swami's Padamaskar, and I didn't wait for a call from Parthi. Next day morning, I got up, had my shower, picked up my bag and bed and baggage, rushed to Parthi, met my grandfather to his surprise, and true enough, the next day I was selected and I became a Sai student. Again, not only can you talk to Swami anytime, anywhere, any place, Swami can also talk to you anytime, anywhere, any place. It can be in waking stage, it can be in dream stage. So you need to be ready for both contexts. Now let me give you 3 analogies here. First analogy is, it stems from the fact that you all must have heard about Swami Yogananda. He is the person who wrote the book Autobiography of a Yogi. Very famous book. If you people have not heard or not read this book, I actively recommend that you should immediately read this book as a EHP student, as a spiritual aspirant. It's a wonderful book which will make you understand the various facets of the spiritual traditions and also open up your mind to so many concepts in life. Anyway, just as a brief aside, those days Ceylon temple used to have this Swami Yogananda's Yogada Satsang Society also having the second floor or first floor. They used to have a meditation room. I don't know if it's still there, but if it is there, do drop in to see that place also. So what Swami Yogananda used to say, just a second, and just having a sore throat, just bear with me because I am having a sore throat, so I may need to take a momentary break just to wet my tongue, throat, sorry.
Bro, sure, no problem at all. In fact, before you continue, and you can take a quick short break, Brother Deva, I'm not sure if you're there at the moment. Maybe you've just had to step away. Maybe whilst brother is just taking a sip, I'd like to actually share that photo up front because I missed that earlier. So everyone, if you've not seen a more beautiful photo, this is breathtaking. So please, we're going to share something. Yeah, Brother Deva is muted. Yeah, thanks, bro. But we just wanted to share.
Let me pull that up. Yes, bro. Give me a second. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, sure. And what I also missed sharing at the beginning is really the focus of today's session is really our theme. And Brother Prasad has already touched upon it so beautifully at the start, which is who can tell us the theme? I'm going to pick someone just to make it a little bit more fun and interactive. And it's fine if you don't know, but let's give it a go. Maybe one of the brothers. Brother Chandrada, are you willing to share what, if you recall the theme? We started it last Saturday, but
I don't seem to recall.
Okay, we'll give you a clue. It starts with the letter I. I can
talk to God anytime, anywhere, any place.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, yes. So you've got it pretty much there. It is I can talk to God anytime, anywhere, about anything. All right, excellent. Thanks. Excellent try, Brother Chandrada. And we just wanted to share this with you. Truly breathtaking. I can't even imagine that moment when Brother Prasad was actually with Swami, and Swami is having a one-on-one conversation, not even in the interview room, but it seems like, with such a nice scenery. And Brother Prasad, maybe if you could share with us a closing story on this scene and in this moment, because you are talking to God anytime, anywhere, and it sounds like about anything. So that's what I want to ask of you. Maybe at the end you can share a story about that moment.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, sorry, brother, back to you. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, just to continue that analogy about what I wanted to give you three analogies here. So Swami Yogananda in the book says very clearly, how do you develop this relationship with God? He says you should focus on whatever you're doing at that point of time with your 100% focus and effort. But moment you're done with it, your mind should get back to your communion with God. So the communion with God needs to be continuous and eternal. And you step into what you're doing with firmly keeping that in the background. But once you're done, you get back into the mode again. I would like to explain this in a different way, to put it in a current context, which I always share. It's like a computer, what we are having. We have a wallpaper, whether it's a Windows based or Apple based, whatever it is, we have a wallpaper. And we work on so many programs, or if it's a mobile, we open up so many apps on top of the wallpaper. But whenever you minimize the program which you're working or the app which you're working, it immediately shows you the wallpaper. So God has to be the wallpaper on the mind which we have. So always it remains there as a wallpaper. What I mean by wallpaper is that is the permanent fixture in the mind. And whatever we do at that point of time, we keep doing, but He is there always in the background. So when you stop doing whatever you're doing, you're in tune with Him immediately. So that is the first analogy. Just keep that in mind, one. Second is, actually here, today's world, we talk about Alexa, we talk about Siri, we talk about Bixby. So what do we do with all these things? We just call out and mention what we want, and it gets done. It looks like a magic. Bixby, can you do that? Alexa, can you do this? Siri, can we do that? But imagine if you had the same access to Swami. What happens then? This second analogy comes into play. Can Swami be much more accessible to you than an Alexa, Siri, or a Bixby? You need a God when your ship is going to sink or when a plane is going to crash. Certainly you need a God at that time. But you do need a God when you're rushing into a MRT station and the doors were just about to close. It just holds on for that one extra second before that beep, beep, beep noise comes. That's where you feel your closeness with the God, because for whatever reason you're rushing for it, you want to get into that at that point of time. So can your relationship with God come to that state? It happens only if the first analogy has been done. You keep it as a wallpaper and keep Swami in the background, and then you come to a stage where you're able to call upon him. Okay, I just want to tell just a couple of experiences. It's all based on my travel. And just for a specific reason, I'm using this because when you travel and you're in an unknown country, unknown place, that's where you start finding bond with God, because you're put in very, very unexpected situations. When some things happen, you realize. Okay, first experiences. It happened way back in 2000 or 2001. I had been to US, and I used to travel to US very frequently. And I was in US, and I was for a meeting. I was there for almost 10 days or something. It was in the state of New Jersey. So one fine day, I had some time at my hand, and the people, my associate said, "Why don't you just travel to the city?" There, in their parlance, the city means New York. Why don't you just go? So I had a day to spend. So I just told them, okay, I'll do. And they just dropped me with a limo to New York City. So when coming back, you call a limo, or better still is to take a train and you just come. They made it sound as if it's as easy as entering into Tampines MRT and getting down in, Bedok or somewhere. They made it sound. I also took it in my stride. I spent my entire day in New York, everything. It was the Twin Tower collapse time. The Twin Tower was still there. World Trade Center was there at the time. I still have that photo. After spending the entire day, around 5 o'clock, I realized, okay, my God, I need to plan my return trip back. And I also had a dinner appointment with on site family there at night, 8 o'clock in a neighboring town where I was staying in US. So I had to. So it was too late. I had forgotten about all this limo calling and all. I didn't. And this is again before all this mobiles were so accessible, easy, everything. I just decided to take a train. What he said, I went. So only after stepping into that New York Central Station, I realized this guy, he had no idea about what he was talking, because he assumed that I am a New Yorker and I understood with so many floors and so many platforms. My God, then at evening time, people are running around. Nobody's got time to explain anything to anybody. And 6 o'clock in the evening, and I had to capture a particular train, buy the ticket, and go to the particular platform with my first entrance into the station. Okay, I made it bold, went and picked up a ticket. I asked for direction. They just waved me some direction. I went here, there. When I was standing there, in such instances only, I have been really grateful to Swami. Something used to always take over me, where people will get panicky and feel out of place. What used to happen in my case was, I used to become extremely calm. Other times I may be panicky. I may get, but in such kind of situation where I'm alone, I used to be, because maybe it was my psyche, having heard so many times that when you're all alone, it's Swami is with you. I don't know, maybe it was my firm belief right from my childhood. So I was extremely calm. I was thinking, how do I go, where I need to go? Out of blue, one gentleman comes and says, where are you heading? I said, no, I need to go to this town. And I'm just looking for this line. I've taken the ticket. He said, no, go to the platform number so-and-so. I said, how do I go there? He said, just go a flight of stairs down, take a left, and he guided me. So I ran there. When I go there, there was another man who was standing there, ready. So I went and said, yes, where are you going? I said, I need to go to this. Come, board this train. This is the train. Hop on, this train will leave immediately. So I just got into the train. The entire compartment was jam-packed. People are sitting, people are standing. And the train started moving. It was a winter month, November, mid-November. It was getting dark outside. And after moving out, then the next thought played in my mind. Okay, I have got into the train. I hope it's the right train. Where do I get on? I don't even know. It's not like your MRT where it is writing which is the next station which is coming, which station you pass. Nothing is there. These are all old rickety trains which run in US. And where do this is again, I want to share with you youngsters. When you step out of Singapore, you will realize what a heaven Singapore is in terms of your infrastructure, in terms of your facilities. nowhere in the world you will get this kind of clarity and everything. I can assure you that. You may find better places, maybe in terms of climate and other things, but infrastructure-wise, I think you're there, very close to Nirvana in Singapore. So then I just stood, and nobody in the train has got any intention of talking to you, because everybody is either reading or listening to their Walkman. Everybody is going home. I don't blame them. It's there. It's like any other experience in Singapore also. So when I was just seated there, I was just standing. I was observing how I'm going to solve this. After 2-3 stations, everything, a lady who was seated some 2 rows inside, she was just looking at me from first. She was a middle-aged person. She was just going on looking at me. So as the crowd was coming and going out, I was also walking in, to make way for her. So I came quite close to her. Then she asked me, "Where are you headed?" I mean, it's not an ordinary question anybody will ask another stranger, but I was happy that she asked, and I told her, "This is where I'm going." She said, "Don't worry." I didn't even, to be very honest, I didn't even ask her for the direction. Of her own accord, she said, "Just wait for the stop which I get down. After that, the second stop is your stop." She just guided me. So I followed her, got down. Pitch dark when I got down, and when that station, absolutely no light, nothing anywhere. I saw one stairs going down. I got down. I came onto the station, the main road, and absolutely nobody. And it's a winter month, and I have forgotten the next point, that how do I travel from the station to my hotel room where I was staying, which is in a neighboring town. So standing there, I was thinking, now what am I going to do here? Suddenly, out of blue, one guy comes. He comes and asks, "You are wanting to go somewhere? Nobody's coming to pick you up." Again, very dangerous question to ask an answer in a country like yours when you're all alone in an isolated stretch. So I said, "Yeah, nobody's going to come to pick me up, but I need to go here." I just told him. He said, "Fair enough, but can you give me X dollars? I take you there." I said, "Fine." I didn't have much choice. I said, "Okay, I'll do that." He said, "You need to pay me in advance." I said, "Fair enough, I'll do that." He got his car. I paid him the money. He drove. He dropped me. I changed myself and I went for this dinner. Now you just see the series of coincidences. This is what I'm saying. We call it as coincidences. Swami call it as coincidences. Why would anybody out of the way come and talk to you in a New York Central? Why would somebody in the platform guide you? Why would somebody in the train tell you exactly where you need to get on without me asking any help anywhere? And then you're standing on the road, somebody comes and says, "No, I'll drop you, you pay me." Everything on the face of it, a series of coincidences, but completely, as Swami himself says, I repeat it as coincidences. So this is where, when you connect with Swami, things happen like this. I'll just jump to one more experience like this. This happened in another country, completely different, in China. I used to travel to China almost every month in those days. And I was in Beijing, and see, why I used to get myself into this kind of situations was, when I get into my work, I used to just forget time, place, where I am. I used to just focus and do it. Then I used to think, as we say in Hindi in India, "Dekha jayega." We'll see when it happens, kind of situation. So that is the attitude I carry in my mind that makes me do this. So I also have that something will get sorted out, that kind of confidence. So here in Beijing, again, I was staying in one corner of the city. It's a huge mega city. And I had a meeting at the other end of the city. It was again a Saturday evening, cold winter evening. It was drizzling. I took a cab, went there, finished the meeting. After finishing the meeting, I came and stood on the road. Again, this was pre-Uber, pre-Ola, or in your part of the world, you have that another call app. So Grab, so pre-Grab era. So all these things, and you need to just flag down a taxi, and in a wintry evening with the rain falling and full traffic on the road, Saturday evening, I was not lucky. After half an hour of waving my hands, nothing stopped. Then I walked into the nearest hotel. It was a business class hotel, and I went to the lobby hoping that if some taxi comes, I'll hop onto that. But nothing happened that way also. Then I saw one Chinese gentleman walking out to see a couple of his friends. He saw them off, and then he was walking back again. So I just went up to him and said, "Good evening." He said, "Good evening. Can you speak English?" I said, "Yeah." He told me. I said, "No, I need to go to this part of the town, but unfortunately I'm not getting cabs. Can you just help me? How do I go there?" He looked at me, then he said, "Okay, do one thing, just give me 5 minutes." I'm going to hit back home. You can join me in my car. I'll drop you in a point where you'll get a cab. From there, you can take you. I said, fair enough. I didn't have much option. I'll wait for you. Within 5 minutes, he came. I got into it. He was a well-to-do man. He had a big limo. Got into it. He was driving it himself. So he started driving. And we both started talking. It was on, we spoke on Indo-China political affairs. We spoke about Buddhism. It was a lively conversation. And sometimes when you meet a total stranger, you find a rapport, on the spot of it. This was one such instance. And then we traveled and he kept on driving. My mind was also focused. Almost 1.5 hours we were there in the car like this, driving. And this man came and dropped me right at my hotel where I was staying, which was in the other part of the Beijing. Only after he came here, I was aghast. I said, my God, I didn't even tell him the hotel name, but I don't know when he gathered this. Then I looked at him. I said, I thought you were dropping me for a cab. He said, no, I also wanted to do that, but we got talking. I was so happy to talk to you. And we Chinese love you Indians. Forget about the politicians. This was his words. We Chinese love you Indians. You have been our spiritual guru for generations. And this is a small thing I do for you. And never mind. And I couldn't see any cab, and I didn't want you to get stranded again. And he gave me his card and said, next time when you come to Beijing, we have dinner together. I was lost for words. I couldn't thank him enough. I got down and he went. Again, a perfect instance, you can say it's a coincidence, but nobody goes out of the way to help a stranger. And so these are in small ways. I used to always see Swami's presence. And I moved to the next analogy. Having said the first analogy of wallpaper, second analogy of Alexa, Siri, and Bixby, and making Swami more accessible than this, come to the third point. Again, I go back to Swami Yogananda. Swami Yogananda says, whenever a person showers love on you, it may be your mother, father, elder brother, elder sister, younger brother, younger sister, friends, colleagues, whoever it is, always remember it is the God who is loving you through them. If you were to just peep behind your mother, it is God in the form of mother. Peep behind your father, God in the form of your father. Peep behind your grandfather, grandmother, friend, so on and so forth. Whatever relationship you look at, it is the God who is responding to you through that form. So that becomes the third analogy. If you are able to do this, keeping Swami as a background and being able to access Swami at your whenever you need him, and third, to be able to see Swami in everything which happens. I am able to tell you with so much confidence over so many years because I felt the presence there. That's so after almost 25-30 years also, I am able to narrate to you all these experiences. Now, I want to tell you about one particular Sai devotee who was there in Katong Sai centers in those days. I will not be taking names because I will not taken their permission. This particular Sai brother, he had a very unique way of connecting to Swami, which if you youngsters can follow, it will be very nice. So those days, I'm sure even today, elders in the Sai center, we used to wear tie while going to office. So this Sai brother had a unique way. He said, and people who wear ties, you just observe, invariably they'll keep adjusting this neck portion of it once in 5 minutes or 7 minutes. It's just natural because to have the knot perfectly, it's a unconscious thought in any person who wears a tie. And especially whenever he's standing in front of a mirror, when he's talking to somebody or he's going to meet somebody, his hand will automatically go to his knot. They'll just tighten it and then. So this brother had a very unique way of connecting to Swami. He had a rapport with Swami. So every time I touched my knot, I remembered you. He said, whenever I am touching my knot, I remembered you. He shared it with me. And then he told me the next thing, which was very true in my life. I related to what he said. And to this day, I always laugh when I think about this. He said, he used to say, Prasad, see, imagine, whenever I go, I never prepare for any meetings. Wherever I go, when I'm sitting in the lobby or when I'm seated awaiting my turn to go and talk inside, I just adjust my tie and think for a minute. And automatically, whatever I need to talk It will be there in terms of a piece of paper in front of me, or it will be there in the newspaper, it will be there in the magazine in front of me, or somebody will call me over phone and tell me some unconnected thing, but which will be necessary for me to talk. So I just go with the flow and Swami talks through me. So again, for all you young brothers and sisters, if you can have your own way of connecting to Swami, now I saw a young brother touching his head. Whenever I touch my head, I am remembering Swami. Whenever I am boarding a bus or anything, I remember Swami. Or when I need to write an exam or when I am going to present something, I think of Swami and do it. These are all easiest way of connecting to Swami and going ahead. Okay, now I'll come to little more fun aspects of connecting with Swami like this. How Swami responds. I'm giving you day-to-day occurrences. I am not going to talk to you about great miracles. I'm sure many people have spoken to you. I'll give you day-to-day occurrences where you can relate to Swami. See, way back in 2019 and 2000 and all, the mobile phones we used to have in Singapore was all bulky thing. Only three big brands were there in those days: Ericsson, Nokia, and Motorola. So there was no, Apple never existed, and Samsung was not yet there in terms of their mobiles there. So you can imagine these were the three major. Nokia was a big leader. So all of us who carried a mobile, it was almost like carrying, one battery pack in your hand. It used to be so heavy and big. So that's how we had to walk around. So at the time, Nokia came up with a very nice model, slim and very cute model. They came up with a phone. This, I think, in the year 2000, it came in silver color. So it was launched, but it was exorbitantly priced, $600 or $700, $800. I don't remember now, but it was quite expensive. When it was launched, it caught my eye. The reason was because I used to travel almost 18 days in a month in Singapore. From Singapore, I used to travel all across. So carrying this bulky mobile was always an headache. I thought how nice it will be to have this small mobile, which is easy to carry in your hand. It becomes much more accessible. So, but I just removed it from my mind because seeing the price, I thought, forget it. Who is going to spend this kind of money to buy? So a day passed, and suddenly I have been a very loyal customer of Singtel. Even though StarHub came in those days, StarHub was introduced only that time. I was a Singtel customer. I remained as long as I was there in Singapore because I found their quality exceptionally good, even though they were pricey. So suddenly the next day when I went to office, I got a mail from Singtel asking me to attend a business meet in their office near Somerset, the Singtel Towers. 9 out of 10, why 10 out of 10, nobody will ever go to these kind of meetings. Who's got time for going and sitting in the telecom operators business meet? We use a telephone to do our work. We are not interested in what they are. But anyway, this invitation was there. So I didn't think much about it. I went home, and next day morning, even then I had not planned. Next day morning, when I was just leaving from my office, I used to stay in Marine Parade Road. So my office was in Raffles Place. So when I was just starting for office, I thought, okay, these guys have sent them. What is that? I didn't have any meeting in the morning. Let me drop by and see what these guys are talking about. So I went to this Singtel office. Then sure enough, as I entered, they asked me to drop my business card in a glass bowl because they just hardly some 20-25 of us had turned up on a weekday morning. So 9:15 in the morning. The meeting started. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, I realized this was their business meeting where they're trying to sell their services. So I sat politely in one corner, started my work in my mobile, starting sending my SMS and starting my day, so that as they were rambling there, I continued with my work. So this went on for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and at the end of it, the vice president came up and said, okay, and in appreciation of you guys, we would like to have a lucky draw. And he took the glass bowl where we had all put our visiting card. He just shook it up and he invited one female staff to come and pick the card. Believe it or not, till then I was totally unconnected. So when the female staff took one step towards going towards that bowl, my mind was crystal clear. They are going to call my name. Don't ask me how. I got a clear-cut clarity in my mind. They are going to call my name. So she went and picked up the card. It was exactly my card. And that vice president read out. He said, Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, I just got up. sir, can you please come? When he shook my hand, thanked me for being customer, all said and done. I was just looking for, some Cadbury's chocolate or something, Ferrero Rocher or something they'll give, and I go my way. He gave in my hand this Nokia phone as a gift from Singtel. I couldn't believe for a minute. I looked at him. I thought he was kidding. I thought it's maybe some model or something. So I asked him, is it a original one? He said, yes, it's the original one. It's not a model or something. I was stunned. I thanked him, came back to office. Nobody in my office believed me. My staff, they said, no, I think you're just trying to, Singtel never gives anything to anybody. Don't even try telling that. This is, you are bought to, you're guilty and you're giving a story. And this was before all the subscription plans and all came into Singapore. Nowadays, subscription plan is there. You can buy whatever phone you want. You sign up for 2 years and you get the phone free. This was all before that, those days. So even in our Sai Center, some of the brothers who were seated here, they thought I'm just pulling their leg. But then here, when God wants to favor you, wants to give you a small glimpse of His love or affection, He drops it in your hand when you least expect it. Again, you can connect to Swami anytime, anywhere, any place. And Swami can connect to you anytime, anywhere, any place and favor you with anything you want. Okay, let's go to the next incident like this. Another incident here in Singapore is, you have this familiar face of so many vendors, sitting and selling this Singapore draw tickets everywhere. Especially if you're in City Hall or Raffles Place, you will find them every 10 yards, one old uncle or auntie sitting and selling this. I have never been enamored by this. I never touched it. 2-3 years of my stay in Singapore went like that. But one day when I used to have an habit in sitting in Raffles Place. It's not that because of the pandemic, right from those days, I never believed much in AC. I don't like AC much. Even in my house, we have never switched on AC. I used to always prefer a simple fan or a ceiling fan to have air circulation. And if you are lucky enough living in a high floor in Marine Drive and all, you didn't need AC at all because there was such a cross ventilation you didn't need. And the office also, what I used to do is, you can't do that in office. So from my 10th floor, I used to always, once in an hour, I had shared an affinity with all the smokers in Raffles Place. While they got down to get down and smoke and pollute the atmosphere, I got on to walk around there to inhale whatever oxygen which was left in Raffles Place after all these fellows stood at every 10 yards and smoking there. So I used to make it a point every 1 hour I used to get down, complete one round of Raffles Place I'll take, and I'll go back to so that my mind was clear, inhaling the fresh air. So when I was doing this one day and I had a meeting somewhere up in Orchard Road, I saw this old uncle sitting selling Singapore draw tickets. Those days it used to be you pay $2 for a ticket and the price money used to be $2 million or something. I remember $2 million. $2 and $2 million. I can't make this mistake. Yes, you pay $2 for a ticket and $2 million was the price money. Okay, I just went and picked up one ticket, paid him $2, put in my purse. I said, my good Lord, it'll be nice to have 2 million, I thought, and I walked, went to the taxi stand. I hailed a taxi, and already I was thinking, it's nice what a man could do if he gets 2 million. My mind thought for a second. So I stopped a taxi, I opened the door of the taxi and sat, and I got my answer immediately. As much as all the taxi drivers in this city love playing, I also like the 2 FMs which run in Singapore. I don't know what it is called now. Those days it was called Gold 90 FM or Class 95 FM. These 2 channels were there for English music. So Gold 90 FM was going on. I sat in the car and it was a very, very famous song by those days. Your generation may not have heard about him. Very famous singer was there by name Billy Joel. Billy Joel's song was playing on the Gold 90 FM and it just went like this. Don't count 2 for 2 million. I love you just the way you are. This Billy Joel wrote it in a different context for a different meaning. But for me, it had only one meaning. I have paid $2 for a ticket for expecting 2 million. The answer to me was straight, not even the 2 minutes after I bought it. I just bought it, got into the cab. It said, don't count 2 for 2 million. I love you just the way you are. Then and there itself, I thought, what a fool I have been. So next 15 minutes of cab journey from Raffles to Orchard, I was cursing myself. What a fool I have been. Why did I go and waste this $2? Knowing fully well that Swami doesn't like all this thing. Here, Swami has told, where am I going to get mine? So I kept on repeating my mind. I made a fool of myself. So I went there, finished my work. On the way back, I took a MRT and came to my office. I came to my office, went up to my cabin, my desk. There was a brown envelope on my desk with my name written on it. I was intrigued. So I just came out, asked my staff, who kept this envelope here? He said, no, we are not. Then I said, did you see anybody coming and keeping the envelope? They said, no. Then they said, we have not seen anybody, nobody entered the office, and none of us are come. I thought they're pulling my leg. So I went and sat inside. I slowly opened the envelope and saw inside. What do I find? I find 2 single US dollar bills there. US $1 currency notes. 2 US dollars, totally. $1, $1, 2 US dollars. I was stunned. So I came over. Then I sat and thought, I saw the stream of events. I get on, buy, spending Singapore $2 to get the $2 million ticket. And Swami answers to me that don't count 2 for 2 million. I curse all my way till my place of meeting, finish my meeting and come. Swami says, you made a mistake. Okay, take it back. Instead of giving Sing dollars, he gave me US dollars. To this day, I'm telling you, this happened 21 years back. I still hold those $1 with Swami. I came onto my desk and it's still there with me after 21 years. Again, Swami can respond to you anytime, anywhere, any place. I have shared this experience to some of the older devotees may have heard me say this, but I thought I should explain to this. So this is a fun part of connecting with Swami, and you realize that he responds to you immediately. So I told you about the phone, I told you about the lottery. Now third, I'll tell you another instance. As much as we lead a life, we have a lot of confusions, we have a lot of fights, we have lots of we don't agree with our parents or friends or something or other keeps playing in our mind. So I was also caught in a crux like this early on in my life. I was going through a tough phase, and I was put in a situation in my life where I didn't know how to solve it. I was in that kind of a situation. Not too happy about it, the way things are going. So one fine day, what happened? I went for a movie with my wife. So I was married, me and my wife, we both went for a movie. So we went and sat in the theater, we were watching the movie. The movie played out, it was a normal Hindi movie. Halfway through the movie, slowly, while my wife and others were watching the movie, I started seeing a different perception of the movie, in the sense, I can't explain to you now. The movie was going, but then I thought, my God, what is this guy doing here, this hero in this movie? Then I started connecting with what I was going through in my life and what is happening. So I stopped seeing the movie as a movie, and I started putting myself in the problem-solving situation, as they say in management theory. I started looking at it. Then I said, how is this guy going to go and solve it? So I started looking at it. So by the time at the end of the movie, I had my answer. I came back, and I'm not saying I did verbatim, came up with my own version of it, solved the problem, carried on with my life. Again, this was, you may think that I am connecting Swami everywhere. No, the reason is, once you have Swami as a wallpaper, once you're leaning on Swami for everything, and you start seeing Swami behind everything, I see even Swami behind what is happening in the movie. So for me, it's a message which comes to me, or else I won't be there. If I am talking to you today and you're listening to me, or we are sharing Swami's thoughts here, it's by his will. Without Swami willing it, it cannot be like Brother Rajesh or Brother Deva planned for it, or I plan and I come and talk. It doesn't happen that way. unless until there is a divine will and there is a divine thing. That's why I'm saying those three analogies becomes very important. If you are crystal clear in those three analogies which I gave you, you will never have a doubt that whatever happens in your life happens for a purpose. You start seeing a deeper sense behind everything. So my issue got solved and life went on very smoothly. Okay, this instance like this. In another instance, I'll tell you, you want something and you are striving for it, but only he knows how to give, but he will give it in his own way. Again, another instance. While I was a student, I had started seeing movies for almost 7-8 years. I had not seen, not going to theater or anything like that. So after I graduated and everything, one working out, I started my career, everything out. My cousin visited me, who doesn't come from a Sai background, and he is not a Sai devotee, nor is his family. So while he visited, he was a very active stockbroker in the exchange and the stock exchange in India. And he just visited me, and it was Sunday, and he said, "Why don't we just go for a movie?" Okay, just thought I'll play along with him. We went to the theater. In India those days, we had 4 shows in a day: morning show, afternoon show, evening show, night show. So 4 shows will be there. So we went for an afternoon show. We went there, but tickets were not available. It was houseful. So again, these were all before your internet days, before your digital days, where you book things online, you see things online. Good old days, you want to see a movie, you have to go to film theater only. You can't see it anywhere else. So the tickets were booked and it was not available. So I told him, okay, let's go back home, have lunch and relax. I thought he will give up seeing movie. But we went there, we had lunch, but he was in no mood to give up. He said, evening, come on, we'll go now. Let us try again in the evening. So again we went in the evening. It was houseful. We didn't get the ticket. Then I told him, see, let's not waste our time. There is a Sai center nearby. Let us go and sit in the budget. He looked at me. Here he was trying to take me for movie. I was pulling him for budget. So as much as I told him, see, I humored you by coming afternoon, evening. Now you humor me by coming to things. So let's not waste time. So he came. He sat through the bhajan. Rather, in his definition, he suffered through the session while I enjoyed my bhajan and everything. And we finished and we had dinner. Now he said, no, we shouldn't give up like this. We tried afternoon, evening, and good order's sake, I came for your bhajan also. Now we need to get into this night show. I thought this guy is really desperate. What is this? Then again, to humor him, we went there. And it was a hectic crowd. No way anybody could have got tickets. Huge line standing there. So he said, okay, I'll park my vehicle and come. You just stand in this line. I knew for sure that I am not going to get ticket if I stand in this line. So I was right at the tail of the line. And I was just looking around. And while this guy went somewhere to park in that hectic crowd. So for all these young brothers and sisters, if they don't know what is crowd in India, you just multiply Saramun Road crowd on a Sunday into 10 times. That will be the crowd in any film, cinema theater, anywhere in our country, wherever you go. So I was just standing there, and I was not even specifically looking at the ticket counter also. This is what happened. Somebody tapped me. I turned back. It was a guy who was standing in that entire line of some 30 fellows ahead of me. The last guy tapped me. I looked at him. What happened? I asked him. He said, no, that guy, she is calling you. I looked up. It's a ticket counter where they issue the tickets, There was a guy who was standing behind the ticket issuer and he was calling me. I thought maybe some mistake. Somebody behind me here. I turned back. Nobody. So me. He again pointed, you only come. So I thought, I just walked up to the counter. It was as if the 30 fellows there just froze for a minute. I walked right up to the counter. I asked him, what do you want? I asked him, what do you want? Because he called me. He replied back to me, how many tickets you want? I thought he's pulling my leg. I said, I need 2 tickets. He took 2 tickets and gave me. I asked him how much to give. I thought he was selling in black or what. He said, no, what is the exact amount? I gave him the money. I just took the ticket and came and stood where I was standing. Again, people started moving in the line. It was impossible. In India, if somebody were to attempt doing this, they would have thrashed him out of shape on the spot. You wouldn't have gone back home in one piece. When 30 fellows are standing in front of you in line, how can you ever go? And my cousin, when he comes back, he sees me standing with the ticket in my hand. He thought I have bought it in black. Because how else do I get it? When so many people are saying, I assured him, no, I didn't do any. He thought I'm pulling us. You say you don't want to see movie, but you bought in black. But to this day, I've never been able to convince him after 30 years also. So sometimes how things happen, you don't know. When God wants to bless you with something, when He wants you to go through an experience, gives you something, we only thought you're knowing things will happen of its own accord. So Swami can reach out to you, relate to you, and do what you want, even when you least expect him to do when you're connected to him. See, why I'm giving you all this kind of real life examples are, say, I want you to understand that connecting to Swami is the most easiest thing to do, and it is not confined only to going to EHV and chanting prayers. It's not only going to bhajans and singing bhajans. Yes, those are all important. Those are the best ways to connect to Swami. But after having done that, we need Swami to help us in everything else in my life. If I want to have a Mysore masala dosa, I need Swami to ensure that I get it when I enter a Komalas. And that person doesn't tell me that it is not available today. You understand? I'm just saying you need to bring Swami to such a level with you that he is with you in whatever you do. There is no differentiation between saying that this is spiritual, this is non-spiritual, this is my school work, this is my play. No. Everything is only one template, and Swami is part of the template, and Swami is the core of the template. So whatever you do with Swami. So that way, you will never end up making any major blunders in life. That's why I'm sharing about movies or anything. Don't think otherwise that I'm motivating you to go to movies and try all these things. I'm just trying to say that in every way, every place, Swami talks. And Swami can talk to you from a TV, can talk to you from a movie theater, can talk to you from a sports field, can you talk to you from a match which is happening in your English Premier League. You don't know. You will get a message anywhere from any place. One practical example connected to that is, say, as I said, my office was in Raffles Place. And it was a high pressure work because I was heading this organization. It was an international trading house and everything. So my way of de-stressing myself, apart from taking this hourly walk around Raffles, was to walk in this such a hot place like Singapore, from Raffles Place to City Hall. I'll walk in the afternoon by 1:30. Those days there used to be a Komalas, the fast food in the basement opposite to Hotel Excelsior. I don't know if that branch still exists because last time when I visited it was not there, I think. But there used to be a Komalas in the basement of that corner building. I don't remember now. It was just opposite.
Peninsula.
Peninsula. It used to be there in the basement. You're right. Thanks, Devan. So actually, I used to walk sweating all the way from Raffles to City Hall in the hot sun with my tie, everything. But I used to completely de-stress myself. I used to go enjoy my lunch and walk back fully calm, ready to face the world and the life in the afternoon session. So I used to do that. But one particular day I was totally, because it was a very critical situation and I really didn't know what I'm going to do because I was facing a very, very unsolvable situation in my one international trade which I was handling. It was, suffice to say, it would have been a very, very serious consequence for me and the organization. So I was just walking, my mind was somewhere, so went and had lunch. And when I came out, there is a pedestrian cross which connects from this side of the road to the other side where St. Andrew's Church is there. The church is there on the side. So you just cross it, and I used to walk that way. So when I stood near the pedestrian cross, something made me lift up my head and see. I just lifted up my head and see. I saw a banner there inside the church. The white color banner, it was written very clearly. It is not the end of the world, at least not until I say so. And it was written below Jesus Christ. The message was there. It's not the end of the world, at least not until I say so. Jesus Christ, the banner. I looked up, I saw the banner, my entire mental attitude changed. With Swami, it's like that. You don't know. That's why when you chant an Om, when you chant it with core of your heart, you never know what that simple act of chanting Om does to you, or the simple act of singing that bhajan with full focus and attention does to you, or just connecting to Swami, wherever, as I said, gave you so many examples, does to you. Just looking at it, immediately things got clear in my mind. I said, why am I getting tense so much? So the rest of the walk I did back to my office, I started looking at options. I started looking, can I do like this? Can I do like that? Sure enough, by the time I reached, I had a way out for myself in my mind. In normal parlance, you could have said that I thought my way through. No, absolutely, I don't believe. None of us have the capability of thinking through such big solutions in a matter of 10 minutes, that too after a heavy lunch in the afternoon. But I took it as Swami's blessing, the message. And sure enough, next day I walked again to that place. That banner was not there. It was as if the banner was put up that day so that I could view it. I got the message. The next day it was not there. So again, you never know where Swami speaks to you. He may speak to you from a book, from a banner, from a hoarding, from anywhere. How do you know you're getting it? Because your conscience will tell you that this is the message for you. And how does your conscience tell you? Only if you keep Swami back as a wallpaper, if you're connecting to him more than what you do through all your instruments and other things, and he is more dear to you than all these other intermediaries you have, and you start looking at Swami behind everything, as I told you, the third analogy. When you do all these things, then all these possibilities start happening in your life, and you start connecting to Swami, and you start seeing Swami in everything you do. So these are all some of the things which I thought I should share with you. Now, I want to give one, let's say, a fitting finale for this with a very personal experience I had with Swami. I have narrated this at least 100 times in Katham Sai Center, and repeatedly many side devotees have always asked me to keep repeating it, even though they have heard it from my own mouth 100 times. But this explains the entire omnipresence of Swami. Again, this happened when I was a student there. I was seated for a darshan in Vrindavan as a student, outside Tribe Vrindavan, in Swami's mandir in Vrindavan. And those days, the regimen which Swami had for students was very strict. In the sense, once you come for darshan, you don't talk. 100% you're not expected to talk. One. Second, forget about talking. You don't even look left, right, or anywhere. You are just still, fully prepared for the darshan of the Lord. Swami may come out any moment. You are tuned into him when he comes out. So this is the discipline Swami expected from students. So talking was out of question, and if you did end up doing that even by mistake, you will be pulled up straight by Swami, not by anybody else. Our relationship with Swami in those days was like this, that Swami will pull you up and give you a dressing down on the spot. So here I was seated right in front of Swami's door from where he should come out. And there was one senior uncle who was a very, very ardent devotee of Swami. He hailed from Bombay. Again, I'm not taking names because I have not taken their permissions. And this uncle was so tuned into Swami that Swami used to call him as my Hanuman. Swami used to refer to him as my Hanuman. He's my Hanuman, Swami used to tell him. And he was allowed, because his state of mind was such that Swami allowed him to come and sit with students, because we were the privileged lot as Sai students, We had access to Swami, we sat in the front, we had separate sessions with Swami. So this uncle was permitted to be part of all those things. So this uncle had, whatever he had given it off to Swami, and he was living his life like that. So we all knew that he was in a different zone than all us there. So I found him sitting next to me that day morning while we were waiting for Swami's darshan in the morning. This uncle knew me by face. I of course knew him, but I knew his name also, but he may not know me, but he has been seeing me as a student for years now, so he knew me by face. So he just asked me a question. How does Swami know everything? He asked me a question. Now, as I explained to you, I was in no mood to talk, no mood to answer here, there, and I didn't want Swami to come straight and pull me up early morning when I'm waiting for Swami's darshan. So I didn't get into a conversation with that uncle. I just kept quiet. I kept looking at the door. The uncle repeated, how does Swami know everything? He asked me. Now I realized this uncle is not going to leave me. So I thought I'll just give him a quick answer. I'm hoping that he keeps quiet after that. So I kept looking at the door. I just told him, Swami knows everything because he's Antaryami. I thought that will keep him quiet. He continued, he's saying, that's what Swami says. But you tell me, how does Swami know everything? Swami says he is Antaryami, he is omnipresent. But you tell me, how does Swami know everything? I thought this uncle is not leaving me. So then I again kept quiet, waiting somehow. I'm hoping that Swami comes. I escaped this ordeal now, but he persisted. Then I realized I can't stretch this any longer. So I just told him very politely, Uncle, I don't know, better you tell. So without turning my head, continuing to looking at the Swami's door, I thought if at least this uncle keeps talking, let Swami come and Swami may know how to handle him. At least I have not caught talking. My thought pattern was like this. So I said, Uncle, you please tell me, I don't know. So he started narrating. He asked me, in all these Indian households, you see image of Lord Vishnu. And they show 7-8 heads on one side, another 7-8 heads on the other side. Why do they show like that? So I looked at him, I said, I don't know. He said, do you think the artist who was imagined was mad? He just kept on drawing heads around Vishnu and without any rhyme or reason? I said, no, I don't know. Then he said, have you seen in his body, they show a tree, the Kalpavriksha is there, the Kamadhenu cow, the wish-fulfilling cow, the wish-fulfilling tree, everything is there in his torso and his body. Have you seen that picture where he has got multiple heads and everything? I said, yes, I have seen, but I don't know what's the meaning. Then he said, when an ant bites your feet, how does your hand know that that is an ant biting your feet and immediately you go and knock off the ant? I told him it's my feet and my leg, my hand. So when it's biting, I know it is my feet and my hand. So my hand goes to help me myself. So then he said, if your hand knows that the thing is biting you and it's your body, and then you're able to do it. Same way, he said, now listen to me clearly. Now listen to me. This is what he said. This entire universe, the entire universe is contained in the Lord. Understand, entire universe is contained in the Lord. That is the meaning of Lord having multiple heads, and all this creation is shown in his body, in his chest and his stomach and his torso, everywhere. So as much as you know, when an ant bites your feet, the Lord knows everything what happens in the universe because the universe is contained in him. This is the virat swarup of the Lord, he said. My God, to this day, even now when I'm narrating to you, I have a goosebump. I couldn't for a minute contain this info what he gave. It was just as if something opened up in my mind that instant, And I realized here was an uncle who would have spent 30-40 years of his life doing spiritual sadhana, and immense grace of Swami and mercy of Swami on me, that this uncle gave the entire spiritual practice of his as a simple capsule in my hand. Asked him, Beta, you have that capsule, this is what life is, this is what spirituality is about. And I got it so easily. And not only getting easily, I understood on the spot. I can assure you, you listen to this 100 times also, it will take you some time to digest what has been told, to understand. So in my case, it was just an instant transfer from him to me. And as soon as I got the glimpse of this, I look up, the door opened, Swami walked out, came straight to me, gave me Pad Namaskar, put his head, his hand on my head, blessed me, went up to the uncle, gave him Pad Namaskar, put his hand on his head, blessed him, and he just walked away for darshan. It was an immediate confirmation of the entire thing which happened. So this was a lifelong lesson, and to this day also, through all the forums I have spoken, wherever I have shared, I bow my hands to this uncle who, out of his infinite love and affection, or it was inspired by Swami, that he chose to come and sit next to me and give his lifelong sadhana as one small capsule which I can take it. So for you young brothers and sisters, this is how Swami knows everything. You are part of a universe and cosmos which is contained in Swami. You are already there in Swami, and Swami is there in you also. So when we say it's a wallpaper, we say it's more than Alexa, Bixby, and Siri, or seeing Swami, it's all next steps. But the fundamental step is you are already in Swami and Swami is already in you. There is nothing you separate and Swami separate. If you understand this, then even if you don't understand, I'll come from the other side. Just keep this in your mind. You will surely understand as life progresses for you when you grow on in age. But if you can understand now and connect to Swami like this, life becomes a song. You're always in tune with Swami, and Swami is always there guiding you. Because the people with whom you're born are not there when you're going to school. The people with whom you go to school are not there when you're going to go to college. The people with whom you're going to go to college will not be there when you start your career and when you start your job. And the people with whom you start your job will not be there when you marry or when you change jobs and you take on some other vocation, whatever it is. So everything keeps on changing. And be clear also that parents, grandparents, family, everybody also will not be there with you always. So if you were to see right from beginning to end, it is only Swami who is there with you. He was there before you were born. He was there when you were born. He was there when you grow up. He will be there when you end your tenure also in this life. So Swami is the only constant factor. So have this thing very clear in your mind, and whatever you do will turn out perfectly, and you will never end up doing any blunder. When you have God with you, you can do whatever you want. Will you ever make a mistake? Will you make a blunder? Or even what looks like a blunder or mistake to others may be eventually good for you when you keep Swami with you, always with you. So I think that's what I would leave you people with this thought. And since Rajesh asked the question, I want to answer regarding that photo. That photo was taken, which he showed of me with Swami. It was taken in Kodaikanal. I was blessed to go with Swami to Kodaikanal, and I could stay with Swami for almost 40 days there in Swami's bungalow in Kodaikanal. And this was in one fine day. We had gone to a scenic spot in the mountains. And while we are there, Swami was giving photos, individual photos with students. So when my turn came and I went there, Swami took a snap with me. Then he turned around and looked back. He said, see, there is so much cloud behind us. How will the background look? And Swami conversed with me for a few minutes. And then Swami held my hand. We moved on to another spot and took one more picture with me. So what was supposed to be one personal photo with Swami ended up getting us 4 or 5. So there was with Swami in the original photo, then me and Swami conversing for a few minutes, and then Swami held my hand, took me to another spot where there was a little bit light behind, it was not cloudy, and took another photo. So this was the background with that. So with these few words, I think I will end here, and I would just like to leave one message of Swami, which I always hold very dear in my heart. The greatest adventure in life is to seek God. The greatest romance in life is to love God. The greatest achievement in life is to realize God. This is Swami's words. So with this, I'll end. Sai Ram, and I'll be happy to answer any questions which you may have. I think, Rajesh, I not overshot my time.
No, brother. Wow. Truly, truly sincere thanks from all of us for you to have shared such beautiful recollections, experiences, and messages of Swami truly coming through you from only Swami as we recognize it. So really with much gratitude, thank you indeed. There's so many day-to-day experiences that you have shared, right? And I think our young brothers and sisters can surely relate to, those experiences when you have to buy those movie tickets, when you have to travel from unknown places from point A to point B, when you, when you want to, as you say, you buy these lucky draw, or what is it, that draw ticket, and you think, why did I waste my money? Right? All these very beautiful moments. And even when you're not realizing it, God speaks to you, right? Through that message in the church, through that banner, through the song in the taxi, right? But are we listening, right? God is talking, but are we listening? Which is something we talked about in class last week as well. I mean, we can speak as much as we want, and we're wondering whether God is listening. He's listening to us more than we know. Wow.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, we will give some time for some Q&A. So it'll be great if it'll be great if our young brothers and sisters have any questions. Don't be shy. Please ask. And you can also use the chat to ask any questions.
Hi, Brother Rajesh. I don't have a question. I only have a statement. Brother Prasad, it was so nice to hear you talk again after so many years. I felt like I was in my 20s again in Trusha's house when you used to have Friday study circle. And I remember coming every Friday after work to listen. And after that, going home, just feeling, energetic and vibrant. And I was very new to Swami's teachings. But coming there to Auntie Rekha and Trusha's house to listen to you, I was initiated and I knew a lot more. And, thank you for today's session. I felt like I was back there at Study Circle again 20 years ago. Yeah, thank you so much for today. Sairam.
Sairam,
Sairam, Brother Prasad. We are asking now for one sister here. Okay. So she's asking, sometimes we want to ask God urgent questions and it feels like we don't get an immediate response from him. So let's say we want to ask guidance on which school we want to go to, but we don't seem to get a direct message, right? Then how do we get a response from him when we really need it? And how do we still have faith in him if we feel like our prayers aren't answered or aren't getting answered? So like very direct, which school should I go to? I've got 3 schools, for example, which school, so we don't get a direct answer, right, for that. So how do we deal with that, these kind of situations?
See, actually, that's what I was mentioning. See, come to put ourselves in this situation first, we need to have that deep rapport with Swami. We have to believe that Swami is part of us and we are relating to Swami continuously. That's why I gave the analogy of the wallpaper and continuously being able to call upon Swami. So if there is some thought like this, what happens typically in situations like this, we attend a bhajan or we do something, we have some practical issue which we want to solve. Because it is important for us, we are there at the point of time. I need to solve this situation. So what do? I immediately put some chits in front of Swami and take. And if it's not giving me a proper answer, I get confused and things like that. But better would be to pose this question and leave it at Swami's feet and just continue with your prayers. Just continue with your prayers and accept what comes. Sure enough, when you continue with your prayers, what is destined for you, what is right for you, automatically happens. You just need to go with the flow. You need to have the confidence to go with the flow. The problem is, we ask a question and Swami, the exact answer to this question, what you're asking, it's not even what I am telling you now. You should see Swami's own definition of surrender. It is written outside the Western canteen in Prashant Mele. Whenever you get a chance next time, go and see. Even though if you get into Radio Sai or any other website and you just say Swami's message on surrender, entire paragraph will come. What you are asking, the exact answer has been given by Swami. Swami says in that, you put a question to me, but you want me to give you the answer which you want to listen. So you can't say that you have a health issue and also decide as a doctor what I should be prescribing to you. If you have taken a call of reaching out to Swami and leaving it, wait for the message. Wait for the response. Now what do we wait? Not wait in a panic or a tension or anything. You leave it to Swami with the full faith that he answers, and we keep praying. Sure enough, in its time, things fall into place. That's what Swami has himself said. So I would suggest whoever has asked you the question, apart from what I've shared with you, you should download what is Swami's message on surrender. It's there on the Radio Sai website. And it's there outside Western Canteen. Those of you who have gone to Parthi would have seen this on the men's side. Huge cutout is there. Swami's message on surrender. It's a wonderful answer for this question.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah, Sarah?
So how long does Swami take to answer a message?
Again, see, that's the same answer there. The question, when you ask a question, if you keep checking on it, it's like again, Swami gives another example. If you put up rice for cooking, when you cook rice, you have to allow the rice to be steamed. But if you keep opening every few seconds to see if it is steamed, it's steamed, then rice doesn't get cooked. So once it is put to him, where is the question of you asking when it should come? Because you are surrendered to Swami. See, the word term Swami uses there is, once you are surrendered to me and you put your worries and anxieties to me or your query to me, wait till I give you the answer. Don't keep asking why he is not done, when he is not done, how long he is going to take. All those questions don't come if you follow the concept of surrender which Swami says. Again, I think I would request the sister and also the brother Rajesh to download that Swami's message. It's very apt. It will answer what the sister also asked earlier and will answer also what you are asking. Both these are mentioned by Swami himself. Swami tells exactly about this exact question you asked. Don't ask me how long it will take. Swami mentions in that. So the answer is there from Swami for you there. But if you're asking man to man, I mean person to person here, see, if we have the faith that Swami is there with us and we are praying to Swami, once we offer it to Swami, we just take things as it comes. I'll tell you what I do. I just go with the flow. If I have put up with multiple options or if I have got some other things, I'll just say, okay, I just go with whatever comes my way and what happens at the right moment, I just go with it. If it is not destined for me, there will be a block. I know, okay, then that this is not meant for me. I take my detour and go. But if there is no block and the path keeps going, then I take it that this is Swami's way for me and I keep going. This is my faith and confidence in Swami. This is how I do it. I do not, once I take up something, I offer to Swami, I see options. I just see what appeals to my conscience. I just keep going. And if it is not meant to happen, it won't happen. If it's meant to happen, this is Swami's prasad to me and I keep going. That's my personal way of looking at it. But this is Swami also explains very well in terms of surrender.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. We will get that message on surrender and share it with the students as well.
It's a beautiful message, very well, it's a wonderful message. It's applicable for everybody, in every context. Everybody, every context. It's a wonderful message from Swami.
If I can probably share something quickly here about Brother Sakit who asked that follow-up question. Last week in class, he actually asked he asked a question about surrender last week in class, and I think the gurus fumbled a little bit in replying him. And over the week, I sent him a message on surrender, and now as he asked this question, what comes from you is surrender again. And so I think Swami is following up on him very closely. And that message about what Swami says about surrender, that you're asking us to share, we will share that. It didn't come to mind. But yeah, I think that's the best answer to his question. So he started that last week. Midweek, I sent him a message, and now I think probably Swami realized that it's not going to work with the gurus, or at least with me. So he needs you to give him that message. So perfect. That's Swami talking. Not only can you talk to Swami, like you said, But Swami can talk to you anywhere, anytime, and about anything. So thank you. Yeah, just a side comment on that.
Sairam brother, another question from another sister. So she says, or she asks rather, how do we know that it is Swami who is helping us when we ask, or is it just anyone, or just happen? I would also like to take an example from one of your examples that you have given, where you said, you were in US, and then it was you were in the airport, and you wanted transportation to go, and then there was somebody there who said, where do you want to go? You need to pay me this amount of dollars and all that, right? So for you, okay, Swami came for you. You felt like this, but what if that person was somebody who was trying to scam you, for example, and a lot of things happen in life, right, that go the other way around. So so her question is that, but I'm taking that as an example because even I had that thought earlier. How do we distinguish this?
Okay, now I'll answer this exactly with another experience of mine in US. Exactly, it answers your question. How do I know it's Swami? Since, say again, when you keep a template of Swami always with you and you're moving around, that is an inner voice which keeps guiding you. Another instance, exactly like what you happened, what I told you, what I shared today was outside a railway station in one remote corner of Jersey State. This another instance happened. I went and landed. Exactly, I'm just giving this instance to explain this question. I went and landed from Singapore to Newark Airport in US, and I was supposed to catch a connecting flight to Philadelphia from there. I went and landed there. Snowstorm hit, and I didn't realize within a matter of 1.5 to 2 hours the entire airport cleared up, and the flights for mine were cancelled. I was just standing there in Newark Airport, and the desk people were not too helpful when I said, well, how do I reach? I mean, they said, you try tomorrow morning, the storm abates, and they just vacated the thing and went. So there in the airport, just hardly some 10, 15, 20 of us scattered in that airport in different corners. We were standing. I didn't know what's going to happen, and I requested them, can you give me accommodation? Because I had already booked my night stay in Philadelphia, but they said, no, I'm sorry, we cannot do that. And they just curtly told and walked away. So I was standing there. I didn't know. Then I realized I didn't want to stand in, and sure enough, they'll vacate everybody from the airport also in the snowstorm. And I didn't want to go into the city in New Jersey to find a place to stay, and then again have all this. The US is a complicated place. So I thought, can I try going to Philadelphia by road in this snowstorm also? So when this thought came to me, I was just walking. I found two passengers, two people who were there in the airport were looking at me. They were two, I think, let me use the word passengers. The two passengers were looking at me, and then they just walked up to me and said, where are you headed to? I said, I need to go to Philly, as they say in US. I need to go to Philly. I'm just thinking of going there. I said, we also want to go there. Would you like to share a limo with us? I looked at them. I said, okay, fair enough. Which part of Philly are you going? It's a huge place. I'm going to Northeast, I told him. They said, no problem. We'll drop you on the way, and we are heading right into the city. We'll drop you in the Northeast. So when you're traveling from this part of the world, you'll hit the Northeast part of Philly first, and then you'll enter into the city. They said, we'll drop you on the way and go. I said, okay, fair enough. Then let me just freshen up myself and come, because I was after traveling from Singapore to there already. It was quite a length of time in the flight. So I walked into the men's room and I just freshened myself up. I was standing in front of the mirror, full-length mirror, and I was just adjusting my clothes, and I thought I'll just put on, because of snowstorm, I thought I'll put on my second layer of jacket and everything. As I was putting, something flashed. Now, this is the answer to your question. I said, what am I doing here? Something fundamentally wrong. What am I doing? Here, somebody out of the blue is coming and asking me, and I am telling them where I want to go. And they are offering to come with me, and I don't know from the Adam. I don't know who they are. And how do I, what is wrong with me? I said, I got groggy about. So I went and washed my face again. Then I realized, my God, I made a blunder here. I shouldn't be going there like this. What is this? This is the same guy who, in an earlier occasion in the night, pitch dark, I trusted a stranger went because my conscience went with it. Same guy in the broad daylight in an airport where there are 20 people are there. When 2 people approach me, I still go into the washroom. The inner voice tells me something is wrong here. I wash my face again, come out and tell those 2 passengers. I said no. I changed my mind. They were saying, surprise, what is this? We booked a cab believing you. I said, fair enough, but I don't want to go. I am staying put here. But how will you stay here? They try to persuade me, convince me. I said, nothing doing. I'll just take I called my friend. I thought if I tell I'm taking a cab to the city, they will make a detour that way also. So I said, I called. I got some acquaintance here. They are coming and picking me up. So you don't worry about me. Carry on. Sorry to have kept you waiting. So they were pretty disappointed, but they walked away. But it was a call, answer to you. But I stayed on there in the airport. After another 1.5 to 2 hours, it was a bold decision taken. When what was left, only 4 or 5 of us there. One of the staff who works in the airport, he came and found out my situation. Then he called his friend, and who runs a limo service. And incidentally, he was going to Philadelphia, picking up some passengers from JFK. And he convinced him to make a detour while he was going from JFK to Philadelphia. He said, make a detour, come to Newark, pick up this one passenger here. And he asked me, can you pay him extra X dollars? I said, okay, no problem. And he came, so I already had 5 passengers from JFK. I joined the troop, went and reached in the snowstorm in my place. So the answer to you is, if you are tuned, if you are in tune with Swami, your inner voice itself tells you whom you trust, where you trust, whom you don't trust, where will it go? But you need to be in tune with Swami. That's why, again, having Swami as a wallpaper, having Swami whom you can access much more easily than all these modern day gadgets, and having Swami and looking at Swami behind everything helps you. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, brother, I think very much so. Anyone has any other questions to ask?
Hi,
Ram.
This is kind of a difficult question to pose, but I was just wondering when you should leave the situation in Swami's hands or when you should fight for it. So I can just give you a quick example. So for example, I need to go to J1 next year, and I have put in my choices for my schools. So if I don't get into the school that I want, that I've been fighting for and I've really studied for, and that's the goal that I have, right? Should I appeal for it, for example? Should I still fight for it no matter what? Or should I just say that, okay, this is Swami's will for me and just leave it there?
No, actually, the answer is there in the question itself. If you set your sight on something, and this is where you feel you want to go, in your position, I would say I will continue putting that effort. Praying to Swami, living at Swami's lotus feet, I will continue putting the effort. But I will not be let down by whatever is the result. If Swami wills that you should get in there, you get in there. If Swami doesn't will that you are not getting in there, that's also fine with you, and you move on with your other choice in life. But having put in effort, I will not leave it halfway done, or I will not leave it where I should not regret tomorrow that maybe should I have taken one more step. It's always in Indian languages, we always use this phrase, we say, our job is to knock. We don't hesitate to knock. If there is somebody inside, he opens. If there is nobody inside, we just carry on. So, but our job is to knock. So, if you set your sight on something and you're pursuing it, I would say you should go full hog right till the end. But have the equanimity to accept whatever is outcome. That is the only difference. You go ahead, fight it out, do whatever you want to do, whichever is there within your reach, please do everything. But with an equanimity that if I get, it's God's grace. If I don't get, it's also God's grace. I accept both. I am not worried by any outcome. So that should be the attitude for anything in life, not only for this. You may face many more challenges in life going ahead. For every challenge, that is the attitude. The attitude helps that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really answered my question.
Sairam.
Sairam, if there are more questions, feel free. Okay. I think not for the moment, but if there are any that do come up later on, you can always message the gurus, and we can try to, maybe not as well as Brother Prasad, but we can try our best to answer.
No. It's only you communicate. That's all.
We can probably also send it to Brother Prasad afterwards. I mean, if it comes through, and see if you'd like to give a written reply to those messages, Brother Prasad.
Yep, indeed, we could do that as well. Thanks, bro. Okay, I think certainly from our part, we thank you for giving us so much of your time, love, energy, insights. We're really, truly very, very grateful, brother. Thank you for sharing so many beautiful experiences once again. Okay, excellent.
Okay, I'm very happy. Thank you very much. I enjoyed as much as
we'll do a sure.
We'll
do a quick closing prayer, and maybe Sister Lisa, why don't you actually do the closing prayer for us?
Just one quick thing before we go into the closing prayer and we close the session. Brother Prasad is also giving us a satsang on Tuesday morning, and it has a lot to do with overcoming challenges with Swami by your side. So Tuesday is the first day of Chinese New Year. So if you have time, it's 10 a.m. Please log in and join us for another wonderful, enlightening, and elevating session with him. Okay. Yes, over to you, Sister Lisa.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all. Jai Sai Ram. May Swami guide you all and bless you all always.
Sai Ram. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Brother Prasad.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Bye, everyone. Sai Ram.
Bye-bye.